Hello, my name is Councillor Jenny Ellis, and I'm going to be going through our new Cultural Precinct Master Plan draft. So basically, we're going to be doing 3 videos. This one is going to look at our cultural facilities and what our consultants found for our master plan. We have a second video that looks at specifically at the art gallery and the different sites that have been explored as possible locations for a new art gallery. And the third video is going to be on the financial implications and what we're looking towards in the future. So without further ado, let's go on to the rest of this video. First of all, on behalf of Council and Conrad Gargett, I would like to recognise Aboriginal people in the history and the growth of Griffith and its surrounding villages. And as such, I want to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people as the traditional owners of the land and pay respect to Wiradjuri elders, past, present and emerging. And I recognise and respect their cultural heritage, beliefs and ongoing relationship with the land for people living today. I would also, on behalf of Council and Conrad Gargett, like to acknowledge the contribution made to this community by the many diverse cultural groups that have greatly contributed to the social, cultural and economic wealth of this region. Now, this is the contents page for our 90-page master plan. So as you can see, it is very detailed, and that's why we're doing this video and the others, just to simplify it all so that you don't have to read the whole thing. But if you would like to learn about the nitty-gritties and the specific details of the plan, then I encourage you to go to this link up there if you haven't already, and you can download the master plan and read it for yourself. So this is basically just a summary of what we have discovered. So the Cultural Precinct Master Plan, what that does is it outlines the key needs and opportunities for each of the cultural facilities moving on into the future. Implementing this plan is about the next steps that will enable the council to support the current facilities and ensure that they can provide for the future needs of our diverse community and region, because it's not just about Griffith, but we service a whole region. So this is about supporting our region as well. These are the guiding principles, and this is a page straight out of the plan. I'm just going to go through those briefly. Certainly, number 1 is to enhance our current cultural facilities and precincts. So, how do they work together? The connectivity between our facilities, are they working to their best now, and will they cater to our community in the future? So looking at those sort of details. The next one is about nurturing community and cultural connection. So bringing people together and making sure access to our facilities is inclusive and accessible to our whole community and all our different cultures that we have here. We want it to be inclusive and welcoming. And so that's really important that we listen to people of different cultures so that we're meeting everyone's needs as best as we can. And also to our visitors who come to town, and we want to encourage them to stay and also to come back. We're looking at designing with country in mind. So a part of this whole process has been very important to work with our local Wiradjuri people and moving on into the future as well. One of the big things that came out of our consultation is our multicultural identity, and it's one of the things that sets us apart from so many other regional centres. And so this is really an important part of the plan. And lastly, a destination strategy. So with all of our cultural facilities, we are not only looking at our tourists coming and staying and spending money and in our community and enjoying our facilities, but we're also looking at people moving here and living here. So a big thing about the arts is that even though you personally might not be interested in whether we have an art gallery or not, for example, or you might not be interested in music or the library and never go to these things, but our teachers and our doctors and our other professionals that we want to move here and live here in Griffith, or our children who we want to stay here and bring up their families here in Griffith, these things may be important to them. So to have a strong community where people want to live, we've got to have the lifestyle choices that people can get in the city. And this is why this area is really, really important to our whole community. So the cultural facilities that we looked at were the theatre, the library, the art gallery, the Pioneer Park Museum, our tourism hub, and we looked at our stages too, City Park as well as Memorial Park stages. Now let's talk about what they found out with the theatre. What is great about our theatre? Well, we have a 523-seat auditorium. We have the Burley Griffin room, which is suitable for events of up to 100 people. And this is really important for our community because we lack event spaces. And so really important. We're having more and more businesses come with conferences, and this room is really important and we need more of them. The foyer can be used as a function space as well. Just recently, we had the Rice Growers Conference that met both up in the Burley Griffin room, and they also had an expo in the foyer, so it's quite handy. And it's been used as an art space as well for our local artists. The recent renovations have been great, upgrading the dressing rooms and the toilet facilities. We have a state-of-the-art sound system, which even travelling shows from the cities are absolutely amazed. It's one of the best in regional Australia. We feature dozens of touring shows each year and a wide range of shows to suit a whole lot of different tastes and age groups. It's definitely the venue of choice for local dance schools and schools every year, particularly at the end of the year. They have all their concerts there. We've just recently had the Crop concert, which is not only drawing from our local primary schools and high schools, but wider as well, and it's a fantastic event. So we're drawing from outside of Griffith. It can accommodate the large conferences, and we have, of course, a wonderful team of staff. The economic benefits of the theatre. We have people that travel from out of town to attend events, and sometimes they will stay overnight. Many people will eat out before they come to the event, so that supports our restaurants. Performers stay, and when they stay, and sometimes they might stay 1, 2, even up to 3 nights, and so they will spend money in our city as well. The theatre makes money on hiring touring shows, and it turns a profit on the bar and the confectionery sales. It employs 6 permanent and up to 30 casual staff, putting money in their pockets to spend in town. What's not so great about our theatre, while it's an amazing venue, there are things that need to be fixed. One of the big things that we discovered in this process was that it really lacks a smaller performance space. That was mirrored from many voices in our consultation program, that there's not spaces for smaller performances and for rehearsals and for other groups. So that would be really great if we could have that. It lacks breakout areas for conferences. So we've only got the Burley Griffin room. It would be handy if we had other spaces for those things. The foyer and the bar, when we have a big performance on, it is very, very crowded, and really it's inadequate for big crowds. Our touring season shows are expensive and often turn a loss, but they are culturally important and often the only opportunity for children to experience theatre. Now, this is why a smaller performing space would be a benefit as well, because there are costs involved in a big space. And when these smaller shows are coming, or shows that would have a smaller audience, having a smaller performance space would be more intimate, and they wouldn't feel like they're just in this big empty area. So that would be wonderful for our theatre. We do have lack of storage space for a lot of our tech resources, and for a backstage equipment and props, and also we have a PA system that we were granted with last year for outdoor performances, so that's stored at the theatre, as well as some of our art gallery collection is stored at the theatre, and not very well, so we do need better storage spaces. Our sculptured curtain, which is absolutely spectacular, unfortunately is not always available for viewing, and we have tourists that turn up and want to see it, but they can't because we've got it set up for a show, or it is just not accessible at that particular time, or we don't have staff that are able to bring it to the forefront for people to see. So it'd be really great if that had its own home on a permanent display. Our air conditioning is over 30 years old and will need to be replaced soon, and our roof leaks when it rains. So these are things that are going to need to be repaired and replaced in our immediate future. What opportunities are there? As mentioned, the smaller space, a black box theatre with adaptable seating, which can be that flexible space, is a great opportunity. I actually go into more detail about that in our second video. So if you want to know more about what a black box is, refer to that video. One of the opportunities is to combine the theatre with an art gallery, which would increase the gallery's incidental audience, and it would combine staff resources and create a cultural hub. And again, I'm going to go into that more in the next video. It would be great to expand the foyer and the function spaces and increase visibility from the street through a new building. With a black box, a function space in front long term, and maybe a electronic billboard so people can see what's on at the theatre and what else is going on about town. And I've talked about increasing storage. Now we're going to have a look at our beautiful library. Lots of activity in our library. It's a very, very special place, particularly of these beautiful children that come in for the different activities. So the Griffith City Library, obviously located in our 1935 Wade Shire Council chambers, and is a central hub for information and library services in the heart of Griffith. And we know that as Griffith locals. It offers a wide range of resources and services, including physical and digital books, magazines, newspapers, and even board games. It plays a crucial role in promoting literacy, education, and community engagement by providing access to valuable learning opportunities and hosting various programs and workshops for all age groups. The library's elegant building design and visual connection to Banner Avenue creates a welcome and vibrant atmosphere for patrons. If you haven't been to our library for a long time, I really highly recommend going, because I was surprised in the process of doing this, seeing their study area out the back, where you can sit down with a good magazine or take your laptop in between appointments if you're coming from out of town. Look, it's just an amazing space. What we have, and you can see here these beautiful photos, so that they have over 1,000 students coming through for Book Week, and for all these various talks from different authors. There's lots of activity always going on at the library. So there's events with author talks, there's programs, babies to seniors, collections. They've got access to over 100,000 items. We have computers and printing, spaces to meet, spaces to study, spaces to learn. There is a community hub that I just talked about, and they also have JP services and computer help. So you can see, I'll move my head. There's one of the little hutches that you can work in if you need to do something on your computer when you're in town. It's a great spot. Future for the library, what they need. So their current offerings have garnered positive feedback from the stakeholder consultation, with visitors appreciating the quiet and the calm environment, helpful and friendly staff, and up-to-date resources ready available. The library actively supports cross-cultural activities, provides a space for different cultures to connect and engage. It hosts various events, including all those things that I've already talked about. I think we've pretty much really covered that slide. So even though our library is absolutely fantastic, there are still things that we need. So after the consultation with the community, these are the things that sort of came up: the need for additional shelving to accommodate the growing collection, a dedicated space to display Griffith's local history and genealogical society collections, and also the possibility of enhancing the library's technology offerings, such as establishing a maker space with 3D printing capabilities, which would engage particularly our younger patrons, particularly in the field of science, technology, engineering and mathematics, or your STEM groups. And also there is that possibility of expanding into the adjacent clock building to facilitate an expansion of study spaces, improving accessibility features, maybe putting a green room or recording room, a digital theatre, and developing the gardens that celebrate Griffith's diverse cultures. So these are all suggestions that have been given by our community. Looking at that green room, this is something that a lot of libraries across the state are introducing, because people are getting into podcasts and doing audio books and doing video shows, and so having those sort of facilities. Plus we have a burgeoning group of locals that are really interested in screen and promoting that in Griffith film, and so this is something that possibly in the future we could look to expanding into that clock building. That's one of the questions that we had. Was it necessary for the council to buy this building? Was it a good investment? And our consultants believe yes, it was a good investment. At the moment, it's bringing in money to council, so it's not costing us, and it is a great resource for the future, because without it, the library cannot expand. So it gives us opportunities in the future. Are we looking to move into it tomorrow? No, we are not. And this is something that we'll be looking at down the track, and whether it's feasible or not. What we need again, how is the library addressing what we need? They have recently been successful in getting a grant of $420,000 to improve shelving and layout, increase flexible spaces. So that's really wonderful. So they're already moving on some of the points that came out of the plan. The genealogical society donation. So they are donating their local history collection to the library and merging the collection with the library's current local history collection. So that'll be great, and you know, to have their volunteers working with the library to have that there, a great resource for our community. What else could we do? And so we've talked about, you know, the enhanced technologies, 3D printer, maker spaces and recording studio. So you can see just some pictures there of different rooms that could be used for these purposes, expanded programs area and more group and private study. So as more people are studying from home, quiet spaces in the library are ideal for this. The recommendation is that we do consider the future expansion of the library into the clock, and I've already talked about that. The other suggestion was that the toilets really need to be worked on, and the mother's room in the library, and make it more accessible to our disabled patrons and mothers. And there's some pictures of some maker spaces there. So in summary, the library is currently and has plans to implement many of the recommendations outlined in the Cultural Precinct Master Plan. It recognises the advice to explore the clock building and aims to remain flexible to meet the changing needs of our community. So I'd like to thank our manager, Chris Robson, for the presentation of these slides for us. The third facility is our Pioneer Park Museum. It is very much loved and it's a highly significant cultural site here in Griffith, dedicated to preserving and showcasing our history of Griffith and our region. And it's an important event space and recreational area for our community as well. And it's a key destination and experience for visitors and tourists. So most of our tourists who come through town, this is the premier spot for them to go and have a look at. But unfortunately, out of all our cultural facilities, really, what we have discovered in doing this master plan is that it needs probably the most focus and work, because it's such a vast area with certainly lots of old buildings that need work, restoration. But I want to say here, our staff is absolutely fantastic. We've got a great committee that work with Pioneer Park, and they have been working on their strategic plan for very diligently for the last 6 weeks particularly. So they're already working on a number of the suggestions from the consultants for this master plan. So these were some of the suggestions, as I said, to develop a clear strategic plan, to look at the opportunities in addition to history and storytelling. So these are just suggestions, enhancing and consolidating the event spaces, providing low-cost spaces for multicultural endeavours. Already there are cultural groups that do meet up at Pioneer Park. There are artists that run classes, and we have different celebrations. And of course, this weekend we're coming up to the Salami Festival, which is a fantastic event. What we would like to see, and what the committee are also working on, is a Wiradjuri cultural education experience, and I really want to develop that more. A suggestion has been put forth to maybe have dormitory accommodation in their secondary art spaces, and perhaps even an artist in residence accommodation. So these are all things that the committee and the staff will be looking at for the future as ideas of certain directions they could head in. And so what they are working on is developing a set of prioritised projects and associated budgets, undertaking a compliance review, developing a business case, and of course looking for funding for the park. The last but not the least of our cultural facilities is the art gallery. Now, the art gallery has had quite a prominent place in this master plan, and the reason for that is the master plan came about because council made a resolution to commit to building a new art gallery within a 5-year period. So that is why we are doing this master plan, is to look at how that would fit in with all of our other cultural facilities, and see where the best site would be to build or renew our current art gallery. So in this video, we're just going to look at what they found in regards to our art gallery. And as I said, our next video, we're going to look at the site choices. What the consultants found was that Griffith Regional Art Gallery really needs significantly expanded spaces that can be divided into smaller spaces. One of the big problems of our art gallery is that we do not own the building that it's in. And that means that we cannot apply for funding to expand the gallery or to make improvements to the building. We also need a permanent exhibition space to exhibit and celebrate our own collections. Now, I only found out even the other night that we have 4 collections as a regional theatre, but 2 main collections. I'm just going to show you what they are because a lot of people don't realise. We have over 200 gowns in a couture collection that we purchased in 2005, and we can't show any of them at the moment. We are just too small. And the other problem is that these gowns are stored in areas which is not good for their upkeep, and so we're in danger of losing them. Now, these gowns were designed by Ross and Weymouth and John Claringbold, who between them won a record 12 Gown of the Year awards, and it's over 90 years of their work, and it's absolutely fabulous. Wouldn't it be lovely if we had a place dedicated to these beautiful gowns so that people could see them? And certainly we have visitors already that come and want to see them, and of course we can't show them. The other main collection is our contemporary jewellery collection, and it's the only one of its kind in regional New South Wales, and so it would again be wonderful if we could display this. We also have other artwork that is around the city as well, up at the council and other various buildings, but also away in storage. So we do need spaces to celebrate these collections. The other thing is that we need support spaces for educational needs and other things. So if you can see the double door in this particular picture, that leads out into a courtyard, and this courtyard is everything. So it's where all the boxes go for the artworks that are brought in. It's storage, it's classes, and it really is a very cluttered and unorganised space, and it is not good for our artwork. It's not good for our staff, as they do an amazing job. They really do an amazing job with what they've got, but it really is, it's just not suitable. And so as a result of the smallness of our gallery and the fact that we don't have these AAA gallery standards, we're missing out on some beautiful touring exhibitions, one of which was the Archibald. So we have been able to see that in the past, but we no longer will be able to see it. So we're missing out on these opportunities, and opportunities for people to come and visit Griffith. We don't have a workshop, we don't have a loading dock. So these are all really, really important to our gallery. I do want to deal with our strengths because apart from our location and where we are, ticketing costs are free and our fantastic gift shop. So if you haven't seen the gift shop, please go to it. We have great educational programs, we have valued events, we have a great staff, and they do amazing things with what we have. So, and it is a space that people feel safe in, and for cultural activities as well. You can read about all the weaknesses, and I've mentioned a number of them, and our opportunities there as well. And finally, our threats, and very much our threats as around our collections, resourcing needs, accessibility needs, and funding. We need funding, and at the moment, as I said, because we don't own the building, we're missing out on a lot of funding that is going around. So that is why, without a doubt, our consultants and our committee have confirmed we need a new art gallery. So our next video is going to be on exactly that, looking at where we might build a new art gallery. So I suggest you head over to that video 3, and that will look at our journey in looking for a new site.